Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Begonias are perfect plants to decorate our living space. They are quite easy to grow, they can tolerate shade in the house, and most importantly, their gorgeous leaves and flowers can blow your mind. In this video, I will share with you my beautiful begonia collection. We will specifically talk about 3 different species, and then we will share the details of caring for begonias. Hope this video will be helpful to you. If you like it, please thumbs up, leave a comment, and share with more friends. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell. Thanks for your support. Begonia is a pantropical genus of flowering plants found in Asia, the Americas, and Africa. The taxonomy of this genus is very complex and can be confusing even to collectors. It is one of the largest flowering plant genera, with just short of 2,000 different species. There are common horticultural terms used to describe and group these plants. Cane begonia, Rex begonia, and tuberous begonia are some examples. It's important to realize that these terms have little overlap with actual begonia phylogeny or taxonomy. They describe characteristics of individual cultivars, and some cultivars can even be accurately described by multiple different terms. Cane begonias are tall, often with large, pointed leaves which are shaped vaguely like wings. There are several names for various types of these plants. There are the angel wings, dragon wings, and superba begonias. Cane begonias like bright indirect light in the summer and can handle some direct light in the winter. They prefer to have the first few inches of media dry out between waterings, especially if they are in a very shady spot, and like to be fertilized in the spring and summer. They will produce a profusion of small, dainty flowers in graceful, dangling inflorescences. When they get too big, they may require staking. You can prune them and root the cuttings in order to promote a more bushy, less gangly habit. Shrub begonias at first glance may appear to be similar to cane begonias. The leaves often have a similar shape, and they are both among the largest types of begonia. However, the overall shape is different. Instead of a single bamboo-like very tall shoot, you have many smaller, branching stems which form a large shrub shape. Shrub begonias also, as a general rule, do not bloom as prolifically as the cane begonias. Finally, the leaf shapes found among shrub begonias are much more diverse than those of cane begonias. There is a larger variety of texture, color, and shape. Because what ties these begonias together is less a common ancestry and more a common growth habit, it's impossible to give specific care instructions. It can be pretty variable depending on the specific cultivar. Begonia rex is a species which is native to northern India and southern China. Rex means king in Latin, so this species and the myriad hybrids which it has sprung by being crossed with many other species are also known as Rex begonias or king begonias. These are begonias which are mostly grown for their foliage. The blossoms are sometimes small and unimpressive, and many growers will pinch the flowers off so that the plant puts more energy into their leaves. A dizzying array of colors and patterns are sold around the world, and some leaves even grow in a credible, interesting spiral shape. Rare Begonias prefer even heavier shade than other types. They are also a bit more picky about temperature and watering. They like it cooler from 60 to 75 ideally, though they can tolerate temperatures in the 80s and down to 55. With higher humidity levels around 50%, you should let the top inch of soil dry between waterings. These like a little more water than other begonias. However, they do not respond well to water on the leaves, so do not spray them, as it can cause problems with bacteria and fungal infections. There are several other types out there, but we have not had much experience growing those ones. Some are hardy in cool climates and can be grown as a perennial. Some have a thick, almost woody-looking stem, and some hang and trail like a vine. It's an incredibly diverse and interesting genus. Now let's dive into begonias' care. Begonias prefer shade to partial sun, specifically morning sun. In summer, we put our begonias under big trees. Sunlight filtered by tree leaves are good for begonias. King begonias can get some morning or late afternoon sunlight in summer. They absolutely need to avoid noon sunlight. In winter, the sunlight is much weaker, therefore, ideally, they need more sunlight. However, they can tolerate low light conditions as well. We have so many plants inside the house during the winter, and many other plants need more sunlight than begonias. So most of our begonias are away from the windows. They actually do not get any direct sunlight in winter. Some Rex begonias are sitting on the floor, even shadier than those sitting on a shelf or a table. So we usually keep the light on during the day. Especially when it is gloomy outside, we have the light on for the plants. And those lights are not grow light for plants. They are ordinary LED lights from the store. Fortunately, all my begonias are doing great and very healthy. So for the light in winter, if you have space, it's better to give them more light. An east or west facing window will be great. A south facing window with some shade hours during the day will work as well. If your north window has bright indirect light, that should be fine for begonias. If your windows are full of other plants, we can always use grow light for begonias. Begonias like warm temperature. In winter, the temperature is better to keep over 55 Fahrenheit for most begonias. We keep our begonias in the house when the temperature is low outside. Our room temperature is around 73 Fahrenheit, which is good for begonias. Once my friend asked me, "Why are your begonias growing so big? Mine doesn't grow at all." It turns out that her room temperature is in the 60s Fahrenheit, which is much lower than mine. So if you find your begonias are not doing well, please check the temperature. The ideal temperature for begonias is in the 70s Fahrenheit. In summer, the temperature can get really high, sometimes around 92 Fahrenheit. I did not find any issue with my begonias. They are doing pretty well outside. The thing we need to know is that put them in a shady area and make sure their potting media is moist on a hot day. Begonias are one of the first plants to wilt if they dry out on a hot day. While begonias don't like to dry out, they are also prone to root rot. We water our begonias when the first inch or two of the potting media is dry. I usually poke into the soil with my finger. If it feels dry, I water them. When watering, make sure the soil drains completely. Do not soak your begonias in water for too long. Begonias hate to have wet feet. Especially when the temperature is low, root rot can happen if you water too much or soak your begonias in water. Begonias prefer higher humidity, especially Rex begonias, which like it to be around 50%. Personally, I do not think humidity is very essential. We have many Rex begonias in the house, and the humidity is around 30 to 40%. They are still doing well. Some may not respond well to arid climates. If you see begonia's leaves start to turn brown, that may be due to the low humidity. What we can do is that we can use a humidifier to increase the humidity, group them with other plants, or set them on a pebble tray with water. There are some trays like this on the market. You can put the plant on the top and dump some water at the bottom. The water will evaporate and improve the humidity for your plant. This kind of tray is great for any plants, including orchids, that like high humidity. About fertilization, I use Magic Grow fertilizer for all my indoor plants except for orchids. I just follow the directions to regularly fertilize them. We can do a more nitrogen-heavy fertilizer in the spring to get the plants going. Heavily fertilize when blooming and give a bit of a break for most in fall and winter. Begonias like a rich but well-drained soil. They cannot abide clay, so if you are planting them in the ground, heavily amend any clay-based soils with sand and humus. If it is very sandy and dry, add peat. If you are potting them, you can use this recipe. Mix an equal amount of cocoa coir-based planter mix, small size orchid bark, and larger perlite. For me, I use a potting mix from the store and mix them with some small orchid bark and large perlite. Begonias are incredibly easy to propagate. You can either root most cuttings in water or straight in the soil. The fleshy canes and stems will easily put out roots. Tuberous and rhizomatous begonias can also be divided in the early spring, once the buds look like they are getting ready to take off. Cane begonias have a tendency to grow very large canes, dropping lower leaves and only having a few on the top. This leggy habit can be very unattractive. It is best to cut the cane in half, root the part you cut off, and then let the lower buds of the old cane grow out, creating a bushier appearance. Alright, this is today's video. I hope it helps you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you for watching and see you next time.